Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to some more Marwell Manor, and it is still raining. It's been raining all night and all through the morning as well, and it shows no sign of stopping. You usually can tell when it's about to stop raining, or it'll stop within about an hour or so because the window wipers turn off, but they are still frantically wiping back and forth, as you can see. So this rain is showing no sign of stopping anytime soon. It's going to be it's going to stop us from doing any harvesting, I think, today, because obviously we're going to have to let the crops dry out. So we need to reassess our plans for the rest of the day if it keeps raining much longer. As you can see, we are finishing off the last of our corn chaff from last night. It got too late and we just couldn't get it all done in the end. We worked through till 10 o'clock and yeah, I didn't want to keep going any longer than that, so we packed up and we're back on the field again. Still got some more to go. Getting down to the last little bit, as you can see. Not too much more now. Maybe 1 or 2 trailers worth. Let's get our lights on as well. It's still a little bit dark because of the clouds. But, yeah, after this, I'm not quite sure what we'll be doing. We might just work on the bunker, I suppose. Get that sort of compacted and squashed a bit. Still want to put maybe a little bit more in there. We'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out once this field is done. But we might possibly take on some additional grass work to fill it a bit more. Like I said, though, I think we'll probably end up leaving that for our own field, or sorry, our own silage pit here at the farm. And there you can see a clearer look as to just how much corn we have left. Not a staggering amount, as you can see. And what we'll probably do to finish off, as you can see, it's starting to slope quite shallowly here at the moment. If we start having some issues with the worker, what we might do is we might stick the harvester on the front of the T7, the 7R, and manually kind of finish off this field ourselves. We'll see how we get on with that. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what we're going to do today if this rain continues like this. Like I said, you know, we've got to wait for the crops to dry out, and it's going to take probably a good 6 hours or so for the rain, for the crops to be ready for us to harvest once the rain stops. Maybe less, but certainly. Certainly a wrench in the plans for today. We will almost certainly have to top our greenhouses up today. I'm pretty confident that they're probably going to be out by now. So that's something else we can do as well. The cows might even need some more TMR. And ideally, I would like to do some hay, but again, it's just so wet that we can't ted hay like this. So we can just mix up some TMR and kind of leave it at that, I think, as far as the cows go. This rain really is, you know, completely messing up our timetable. We may even just take on a few delivery jobs around the local area if there's nothing else really that we can do, just to bring in a little bit of cash and pass the time. And I think if we do end up staying here next year and we do more corn chaffing, we're going to need a field of our own just for corn to really get the best out of it. And we're also going to need to upgrade our tiny little forage harvesting attachment here to a proper forage harvester. That's an expensive combination. You know, we're probably talking a couple of $100,000 for a decent sized field, maybe a little bit less if we're lucky. But on top of that, you know, at least a couple of $100,000 for a forage harvester. Now we'll get some money back from selling this little Pottinger Mex that we're using, but I'd be surprised if we got more than 30 grand for it. We paid 38. It's already had quite a bit of use. So I'll be amazed if we manage to get, anything, like 30 grand back for it. We might get even less than that. I think probably 25 might be the best we can get. So you're at 15,500 in the trailer. I'm wondering if we'll be able to finish this field off. I don't think we will. In a single trailer, we might have to come back for a last little bit. So I'll crack on with this. I'll keep running up and down the field. And I'll see where we are once this is done. But once we have collected all the corn off the field, we will be spending some time in the pit itself at the PGA. And what I may well do when we get there is get some extra wheels fitted so that we can run with twins, just to make it moving around in the pit a little bit easier. So I'll see you in a moment. Just gone 8:30 now. Got a full load of chaff in the trailer, and a little bit left on the field as well, so a partial load still to collect, and still no sign of this rain abating. As you can see, our wipers are still furiously going back and forth, so yeah, it's going to be a very, very long day by the look of it. There's our bunker so far. We need to be a little bit better positioned. There we go, that should do it. So again, we'll start tipping. Cruise control at 0. And we gradually eke our way forward. We'll get a nice big solid tip, quite a wide tip as well, forming up behind us. Excellent stuff. So one more load to go in, and then we'll be levelling that off. I suppose we'll probably end up pushing it all the way back to the back wall as well. Really maximise the space that we have. We are again using the shortcut that goes through other farmers' fields and through the car park. And we did get permission to do it for the entire job, and as we haven't finished the job yet, that automatically has rolled across for today as well. But once this is done, we won't be cutting through again. So, as I say, negotiated access for this particular job, and once we've finished it, we end the access. I wonder what the farmer's going to put on his fields just here. They've been vacant for a little while, actually. I'm guessing he's going to do another winter crop, same as he did last year. I wonder what crops he'll go with. I guess we'll see as time rolls on. There's our soybean crop. Careful again not to damage any on the turn in. I really quite like having this little path down the side here. I'm toying with the idea, if we end up keeping this field split like this, I might possibly make that permanent. And I thought of something else we could do as well. We could start clearing out the trees in this little cutting here. We were talking about maybe cutting that out and following the the kind of tree line a little, or the hedge line a little bit better. So we could still do that. Very little corn left now, as you can see. It's just a tiny little strip, just a few passes. So far our worker seems to be coping actually with the angles very nicely indeed. I was expecting him to, you know, complete his task after pretty much every pass coming down this edge here, but so far it's been soldiering on remarkably well for us. I think it's again helped by the fact that it's such a narrow header. Had it been a much wider header, I think we would have run into a lot more problems trying to keep the worker running, but being such a narrow header, I think is helping him keep going. There we go, you can actually see, I quite like that, it's actually shooting through the gap at the front of the trailer there, at that angle, which is kind of cool. Last few passes left to cut, so I'll get these done. We'll get the last of the corn taken, or the last of the corn chaff taken over to the BGA, and then I'll see you with a leveler as we start to flatten and compact everything that we've gathered so far. And there we go, that's the last of the chaff. So I'm going to park the trailer up just here. I'm going to drop our weights just there. And then the on-site mechanic here at the scrapyard is going to very kindly fit our duals for us. We had them brought over earlier. So we'll get those fitted onto this, and then we'll start working the pit. There we go. Right. There's the blade. I was just trying to remember where I'd left it. I don't think we're going to need the weight, but we've got it on hand just in case. Right, so let's get a little bit of cruise control speed. 3 miles an hour should be sufficient. Open out the blades. Change the height and angle ever so slightly. Let's start moving some silage. Had the blade a little bit too low there, I think. Let's try there instead. Skim the layers off a little bit more gradually. What's different as well is that we're actually working a pit that's on a slight angle, so it doesn't conform to the usual kind of 8-directional snapping that we normally get. So while we're lined up with the fill box just there, or the tip box, we're actually at a point where we're not sitting on one of these sort of, say, the 8-axis lines that we would normally get, you know, for, say, planting. So you have your straight up, your straight down, your straight left, your straight right, and then you have your diagonals as well. And we're kind of sat in between one of those sort of sets. We're not really conforming to any of those angles, which is why our chaff is looking a little bit kind of higgledy-piggledy, a little bit muddled, and doesn't have that usual kind of smooth conformity when we start working a pit. You know, bunkers are normally placed on one of those traditional kind of lines, and by being off it, it is making it a little bit harder for us to actually get this chaff to behave with the leveler. It's an interesting extra challenge, and you can see it by the way it's riding against the side of the walls. You can see that it's not hooked up properly to one of those sort of diagonals or straight lines. Means we're going to have what looks to be a very untidy bunker, but you know, we'll get it as neat as we can given the restrictions or limitations of what we're working with. We're not going to have perfectly smooth, you know, perfectly formed, you know, mountains of chaff in here. It is going to be a little bit messy in places, but we will do the best we can. Well, there we go. That's not a bad effort in terms of squashing it up. The leveler isn't behaving the way it used to on 17, and I don't know if it's because of changes in 19 or if it's just because it's on the front of this 7R. The hydraulic at the front, very slow compared to what it used to be. Really slow look, which makes it quite hard to kind of work the pit the way I'm used to working the pit. But we have kind of pushed everything nice and back, and as I was saying, it's not smooth and even. I thought for a second the rain had stopped. It's just because I couldn't see it like that. I thought it stopped raining. You can see here it's got those jagged edges along the side here, and then we look along the back and it's just spilling out a little bit along the top, but it's not actually spilling out. It's just, as I say, because we're on an angle. So let's take a look at our condensing level. We're at 55% compaction. Going to need a little bit more. I think what I'll do, rather than using the 7R, I'm going to try compacting it with this, simply because I've got a much better turning angle. So if I detach my bale doodah, bale grab, I can't remember what it was called then. A bale doodah indeed. Let's get cruise control set nice and low to start with. Raise the arm up out of the way. Have we got the traction to actually get up here? That's another question. No. Alright, let's try this. That's no that's no better either. I don't know if I can actually get this up onto the top. You can see it just completely deforming as we drive over it. Come on. That's so close. God. A little bit more. A little bit more. There we go. We made it onto the top, so I'm hoping I can just spin around on here like this and do some compaction like this. And I keep sliding at the front there. I hold the camera like this, and so it looks as though the vehicle is spinning and not the camera. That should help stop motion sickness for people, I'm guessing. While we check, let's see, we've gained 1% compaction. I'm starting to think this might not be the right vehicle for the job. It's 2%. This could take a while to get this all compact. Let's try moving towards the other end of the bunker a little bit. This isn't really helping. It's hit 58%. This is going to take way too long with this. It's just too light a vehicle. So at least we tried. The spinning worked. It's just not enough weight to actually make too much of a difference. Need something heavier. So we will stick with the 7R, I guess. Oh, look at that. This building here, it doesn't actually, because it doesn't have collisions and it doesn't count as a building, look, it rains through it. Alright, I think we may sell this and come up with a different idea, a different strategy for next year. We've got a lot more placeables now than we used to as well, so next year there may well be a better choice there. We'll see how that goes. But I certainly don't want rain going through, even though the bales are wrapped. You know, if we're going to be storing equipment in there, it's like we may as well just leave it out in the rain if that's going to happen. And there you can see I can't get the height with the blade to be able to drop the shaft, so I can get it to a certain point and then it all just starts tumbling back down again. Like so. I end up just moving it up to the front of that little ledge and then just pulling it back down and moving it back up again. It doesn't really do anything from this point onwards. It might be the 7R, it might just be this particular leveler, it might be a combination of both. I'm not too sure yet, but again you see we're dribbling that chaff all the way down again, and this thing is so slow to move its front hydraulic. But fine-tuning things becomes a lot trickier. We just kind of move it around a bit without actually pushing it anywhere of any real use. You can see the blade is as high as I can get, but as I drag it back down, it just tears it back down from where I've just dropped it. It's frustrating. Alright, let's try and condense it a bit better. Just get in there with the 7R and just squash it a bit. This thing much heavier, so we should get better compaction. Yeah, this is going to take a while, I think, so I'll carry on doing this, and I'll see you once I've got the compaction level looking a little bit nicer. There we go, finally got this bunker to 100% compacted. We have 612,000 litres in here. Now, of course, some of that was grass, but the vast majority of that was corn. So, let's get that blanketed. We're not going to put any more in here. 612,000, I think, is a fair amount. So instead, we need to head back to the farm, which means stripping the wheels off because we're a little bit wide. Actually, no, we can use the cut through. We'll just have to be careful on the road. We'll use the cut through one final time, and we'll take the wheels back off at the farm. Get the weight attached. There we go. And let's get rid of our help window. Getting low on fuel, as you can see, but we'll be all right. You can see it's coming up on quarter to 1, and we still have rain. It's still showing no sign of stopping. This is insane. This is no more harvesting today, and if it carries on like this, maybe no harvesting tomorrow morning. We might have to wait till the afternoon. Oh, should have gone, shouldn't I? Should have nipped out in front of that guy. Never mind. So instead, when we get back, our money hasn't gone up at all. So our greenhouses must be empty. Going to have to straddle the edge of the curve here just to make sure our wheels aren't going to stick out into oncoming traffic. There we go. But yeah, we'll be working the greenhouses when we get back. And beyond that, I don't know. I really don't know what else there is to do. I really wanted to get started on the harvesting today for our remaining fields, but yeah, weather like this is just impossible. You can see on the radar we do have sunshine now listed up there, but that means it could be anything up to 6 hours away. It could be a long time before we actually get that sunshine. So let's squeeze our way through here nice and carefully. There we go. So yeah, no harvesting at all is going to happen today, because by the time it does stop, it's either going to be too dark or the crops are still going to be too damp, and we're going to have to wait for them to dry out. The good thing is, though, that we do have sun coming up as opposed to just clouds. It'll help dry the crop out so that, touch wood, it'll be ready in the morning for us. And we can crack on bringing in our barley and our wheat. We've already done the canola, and then a little bit later in the season, our soybean will be ready, and we'll be able to get that brought in as well. So instead, let's just make our way back to the farm here. Instead, what I think I'll do once we've done the greenhouses is we'll start cutting down the trees over there and clearing away some space, and we'll do it as carefully as we can. We'll need to probably head over to the sawmill, see if they've still got that stump grinder, and if they have, we'll see if we can borrow that. Just clean this off. So yeah, we'll see if we can borrow their stump grinder, because we'll have a couple of stumps to grind out. But in terms of the trees themselves, we'll be obviously chopping those up by hand, and then we'll just stick the logs in the back of our our gator, and transport those that way. I think that might be the better option to do. We do at some point need to get a sort of a small to medium sized trailer for low loading and stuff like that, and there is one I've got my eye on. Obviously we don't have the money for it right now, but going forward we'll definitely look at that. I could possibly sell this as well. That would actually raise the funds for our trailer. That's something to think about. Anyway, we'll park this out of the way. Actually, no, we'll go and drop the trailer off. Can I get in there and avoid hitting the animal trailer with the jewels on? Should have enough clearance room. Yes, we do. Excellent stuff. So I'll park that up just here. Kind of want to leave the twins on this so that we can use it straight away for planting later on. You know, once we've got our fields cleaned and ready for planting. But for now, we'll park this back in over here. There we go. And let's jump into our 6M and let's go take care of those greenhouses. Alright, we'll take our manure from here. First of all, we do have a little bit left in the manure pit, but not much. And I also want to clean out the food. Actually, I'll do the food first. There we go. I've already got another mix of TMR in the mixing wagon ready to go, and then we'll, as I say, we'll just add this food waste to it to recycle it into a fresh batch of TMR. We need to check milk prices as well. We were talking about maybe selling some milk, weren't we? We should have a full trailer's worth of milk by now. So we'll just grab the last of this silage here. There we go. Drop that in and then we'll check milk prices. There we go. Close that gate up. Oh, that's quite a bit of manure there. That's piled up a lot faster than I was expecting. Alright, let's take a look at milk prices. Where's our market? Here we go. What can we get? Oh, $13.97. That's pretty good. That's pretty good indeed. And how much do we have to sell? 13,500 litres. Not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, we can definitely sell that off. Might sell the whole lot. I'll certainly sell the full tanker's worth. I'll probably end up selling all of it, to be honest. Good money, that. And there you can see our crops died out because they ran out of manure and water. So we'll get the manure in there, get that nice and ready, and then we'll add some water and get the new batch of tomato plants planted. And still our windscreen wipers are busily wiping back and forth. Still no near sight of the rain ending. It's been raining for nearly 24 hours now, non-stop. I wonder if there's going to be a flood warning. I'll have to check the forecasting. There may possibly be some people who are a little bit stranded out in the sticks. So 3 more loads to go. Then comes the water. And then we'll start making money on these again. If I'd realised actually earlier that these were definitely empty. I thought they were running low, but I didn't think they were actually empty. I probably would have done those before we did the pit, just so that we could have made a bit of money. And we've only missed out on a few hundred, so it's not the end of the world. Maybe we've lost out on maybe 1,000 or so at most, but yeah, every little helps, doesn't it? When you've got a bank balance closer to 6,000 and closer, than 4,000, then it always looks a bit nicer, doesn't it? Even if in real terms it doesn't really make that much difference. It's just always nicer to see that that little bit higher balance. Right, I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so manure has been put into all of our greenhouse pits, and on top of that we've also put the rest of the manure in the main pit around the back. So it's time for us to do the water. I just want to turn the lights off in here. There we go. Let's top our water levels up. Still no sign of the rain stopping. This is getting ridiculous now. When's it going to stop raining? At least we know it's going to stop at some point today. Our little radar there definitely is an indicator that the rain will stop at some point today. But yeah, well, we're getting our yearly dose of water here. This water's going to keep us going all the way through to next year. Speaking of water, I might have to check the water trough for the cows as well. But I want to get the milk sold off as well before that price starts to fluctuate. Let's see if I lift this up. Can I actually get in here on this side first of all? Oh, it's tight. Back wheel's not actually touching the ground. We're kind of cocking our rear leg a bit here. There we go. Oh, that didn't work at all, did it? Okay, so we know we can approach from the front angle that way, but I want to see if I can do it from this side as well. And the answer would appear to be no, we can't. Interesting. So drop that back down again now. Nice and close. And the next one. And there we go. Right, let's just check the cows. Water, water, water. Oh, they're fine. I don't need any more water. They got plenty. So we'll just park this up. We'll jump into the 6R and we'll go deliver some milk. In fact, actually, you know what? I want to try seeing if we can deliver milk using the gator. Now it has a hinged attacher, our trailer here, so in theory we should be okay. It's just a question of whether we're going to have the horsepower to pull it once it's loaded up with milk. We should be fine on flat surfaces, but gradients might be a little bit trickier. Let's see. So far so good. little slow to accelerate, and this is an empty trailer. It's going to get an extra 8,000 litres of weight added to it in a moment. But we'll see how we do. I'm slightly worried about the hills. Maybe not so much going into the dairy, but certainly coming back out again. That's going to be a little bit tricky. Right, we still got that good price. 13.97. Yes. There we go. Let's make our way over. Oh, look how slow we're accelerating. That's okay. Let's get our beacon on. And our front lights as well. It's kind of nice to be driving something a little bit different. Oh man, look at this. A slight little bit of gradient. And oh, we are struggling. We are really struggling. Well, we'll sell this load like this, but I think, you know, all future deliveries will need to be done with something with a little bit more than like 30 horsepower. They're not particularly pokey, these little gators. They're very low on the old engine power. Look at this, we're barely able to keep 7 miles an hour, 8 miles an hour going. We're down to 6 again, now 5. I think we've made a mistake. Yeah, this is just not going to work, is it? Alright, we'll drop this off here. We'll use the driveway to turn around, and we'll go back and we'll get the 6R. There's no way we can get that to and from the dairy. And now this worries me about putting logs in the back of this as well. You know, as fun as this little gator is, I can't see that much use for it. The Mahindra, on the other hand, the Retriever, so much more powerful. That we could do all sorts of things with, but you know, if we can't even haul a little tanker like that, you know, then that does kind of speak volumes about how ineffective the John Deere Gator is. Right. We'll have to make our delivery like this. Oh, we've got a weight on as well. We'll drop that over here. I would get some more fuel as well, but I don't want to leave that tanker just sitting there outside the Hollisters. I don't think they'd appreciate that just being left there for a long length of time. But let's see, at about, if we say 1400 per 1,000 litres, we've got 8,000 litres. Just trying to do the maths here. So 4 8s, that's 32, so that's 3,200 plus another 8. So we're looking at about 11,000 for our milk. It's not too bad, is it? 11,000 for a small tanker of milk like this. That might allow me to actually purchase a new trailer. We'll take a look and we'll see what the options are. I know the one I want, and it's just a question of how much it's going to cost us. I suppose it is a little bit dark. We probably should have our lights on as well. Right, off to the dairy. See you in a moment. Right. How close was I? Maths wise. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. It's the dealership, isn't it? And the spinnery. is over here. Dairy's over there. Getting confused. Losing it in my old age. There we go. I do like watching the money go up. That's always nice. Not so nice when you watch it go flying out to the account. Unless you're buying something that you're really excited for. Then you just kind of don't care. Excellent. £11,173. That's pretty much what I was expecting. Just over 11,000. So very, very nice to see that. So I'm going to call in at the store on the way back and just peruse their selection of trailers. I'm going to nip out in front of that cement truck if I'm quick. Yeah, there we go. Plenty of space, plenty of time. So let's go check out the trailers, see how much they cost, and whether or not the one that I want is available. So I've just sold the last of the milk. Got another just a fraction under 8,000 for the nearly 6,000 litres that we had, which is quite nice. And the dealership didn't have anything that I figured was really suitable, but what they did have was an old sort of frame, an old trailer frame from an old PX that they'd had from a previous sale. A previous customer had part exchanged something, and I forget what it was that they'd bought, but they traded in this old trailer in exchange, and the trailer itself wasn't really suitable for resale, so they kind of scrapped it down and broke it down for parts and spare parts. But they do have this kind of frame that is available. So what I'm going to do is I've already spoken to them and I've bought the frame. It's going to be delivered to the farm for me a little bit later. And I've also bought a couple of bits of equipment, and I've ordered some sheet metal. And I'm going to get the welder out in my workshop, and I'm going to build myself a trailer. Just got to make sure that once it's done, it is up to code road-wise. You know, it's road legal, so we'll have to make sure that we get it checked for the lighting and the wiring and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm going to build myself a trailer, something that I think will be suitable, and hopefully it'll be light enough as well that our gator will be able to pull it around, at least partially loaded. Our gator should be able to cope with it. It'll struggle probably if we fully load it, because I'm planning on building it at a decent kind of length, but not too big, if that makes sense. So it'll be ideal for those kind of smaller jobs that we need, or we need to transport stuff. You know, obviously we've got a little bit of space at the back of the gator, but not much at all, and you can't really put a lot in there in terms of logs as well. If we wanted to transport a lot of trees, or a lot of logs from trees rather, then it would just take us an eternity to move, you know, a few logs here and a few logs there, bit by bit, until we finally clear them all away using the very small loading bay at the back of our gator. So this trailer will be kind of designed to do that. It's still, look, it's raining. It's just gone 4 o'clock now. It's still no sign of it stopping yet. But inside there, I've got myself a little welding bench. So I'm going to be building myself a trailer. So just got to sit now and wait for the frame to be delivered, and once that's done, I can actually, you know, break out the materials that we've got and the sheet metal that's on the way, and we'll build that up, and we'll make something hopefully pretty useful and pretty nice. So I'm going to end the day by just waiting for that stuff to be delivered and topping up our cow food level with the remaining kind of bales that we have. We don't have a lot, as I say. There is already a mixture of TMR in the loading wagon just there, the mixing wagon. So we'll get that tipped in, and then we'll add bales to do the rest, add the rest of our bales basically. So we're at a point now where we're going to need to get some silage. We're going to need it pretty soon. Our food will take us through probably the rest of this year, but we definitely need to get silage started here on our own farm. And our grass won't be ready, I don't think, until tomorrow for that. So it's all starting to pile up a little bit, work-wise. A lot of things are all suddenly starting to converge at the same point in time with, not a lot of time left to actually do stuff this year. We've got fields that need to be harvested, we've got grass that needs to be cut, we've got silage that needs to be gathered. So we are kind of running a little bit short of time on things, but we'll get it done. We'll get it all finished. We're going to have to work hard. We're going to have to work some long days, but we will get everything that we need to get done. So, as I say, we'll finish using up the rest of the food stock that we have to top our cows up, because, as you can see, very little left. Can't do the straw because we're out of straw bales. We need to do our harvesting before we can top those up again. And then I'll build the trailer in my spare time this evening, and then hopefully tomorrow that'll be good to go, and we can try perhaps putting that into use. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with some more Marwell Manor and a new homemade trailer very soon.